let's get the show on the road. Okay, cool. So let us proceed. Let us proceed. Okay, so we've dealt with master files. Okay. The process transactions to record financial activities of your business. Click on the buttons below to see more information about supplier documents. Okay, so the first one, purchase order. Remember, I told you guys we will actually look more into this a little bit later in the very same lecture. So a purchase order, what is a purchase order? Okay, a purchase order is simply an option, all right, to purchase something. A purchase order is an undertaking to purchase one or more items from a supplier at a specific price. You enter purchase order into the system in order to have a record of the order you are placing with the supplier. Note that a purchase order does not record an actual purchase. So it's just the option to purchase a certain number of goods at a certain price. You don't have to actually buy those goods. All right. When you produce a purchase order, the system does not update the quantity on hand. Okay. So when you actually produce a purchase order or create a purchase order, the quantity of your inventory is not going to change, nor does it update purchase statistics, because there is no purchase yet. Okay. To assess the purchase orders, click Supplier Transactions, Supplier Purchase Order, click on Add Purchase Order button. Okay, and I'm going to show you that here quickly. I think they've also logged me out on that front, I'm sure. So, oh, they haven't. Would you believe it? See, Supplier Transactions, then Purchase Orders. Okay. All right, and there you go. There's a purchase order. Okay, and then we want to create one. If we want to create one, we click on Add Purchase Order, and there you plug in the information. You're going to have to select the supplier, and you see all the information automatically gets populated, and then obviously we select the items that we want to purchase, and so forth, and then obviously we generate a purchase order. Okay, so there you can see that's exactly what we had actually had a look at. You can see there's the date, delivery date as well, you can include in there. Okay, and then you can select your item and enter the quantity, all the other fields, all right, that can be populated, and then you save, and then you will have generated your purchase order. Okay, you can also email it to the respective person. Okay, then the next one, we have a supplier invoice. This is what you guys have done in accounting, supplier invoices. Okay, so here is when an actual purchase is made. Okay, when you receive goods and an invoice from a supplier, all right, you process a supplier invoice. Okay, when you receive goods, okay, and an invoice from a supplier, you process a supplier invoice. If you first produced a purchase order for the supplier, you can convert the purchase order into a supplier invoice and print it without having to redo any data entry. So again, the same steps. You go to suppliers, transactions, supplier invoices, and click add supplier invoice. Okay. I just want to show you again, supplier, transactions, supplier invoices. Okay. I just want to see something here. Yep, we're leaving this. So here I'm just showing you how you can convert, create invoice. Can you see that? There you can create an invoice. Okay, I'm just showing you how you can convert something into a invoice that used to be a purchase order. Then here, supplier invoices. Okay, you see it's going to be pretty much the same. Okay. The thing about Sage is it's very easy. You just need to understand the accounting behind what you're actually doing. So here you just add invoice, and you can see the information is very much the same. All right, it's pretty much the same. The only difference between an invoice and a purchase order is one is an intention, it's an option, and then the other you have actually purchased these goods. Okay, so I'm not going to click on this to show the invoice again because we actually had a look at that and we are quite comfortable with that. Then supplier returns. Okay, supplier returns. If you receive one or more defective items, okay, or you wish to return items to a supplier, you process a return. Okay, so if we want to return some goods back, okay, we process a return. Okay, supplier returns. The values you enter in the supplier return will reverse the values you enter in an invoice. Okay, so you don't need to try and edit an invoice, you just need to process a supplier return. Click on suppliers, transactions, supplier returns, and click the add supplier return button. Okay, so can you see all the transactions that we are doing? We're simply going, okay, I want to do a transaction with who? My supplier. I go to my supplier, hover on that, I get all my options pertaining to my supplier. Then I scroll down to transactions, then boom, I go to supplier returns. Okay, and you'll see you get pretty much the same document when you click on add returns. Okay, can you see it's the same? It's the same. Okay, so there you go. Okay, there you would then insert the information. Right, so that's your supplier returns. All right, so it's pretty straightforward. Okay, let's go supplier payments before we get to supplier adjustments. Okay, supplier payments, obviously this is when we are now paying. So when you have received your order from the supplier and you pay them for the items, you will use this function to record your payment. Okay, to assess the supplier's payments, click on suppliers, transactions, supplier payments, and click on add supplier payment. Okay, so I think we're getting the gist of it, so I don't think I need to go there again. You've obviously inserted who are you paying. You're clicking on the invoice that you are paying. Okay, after you click on the invoice that you're paying, you then obviously allocate the amount. How much are you paying, the whole invoice, or you're paying a portion of it? Okay, then finally you click on process. Okay, and you click on process, and then obviously you can then close because it would have saved. If you're paying more than one invoice or making more than one payment to various suppliers, then obviously you can say process and then new, and then you can continue making more payments. So can you see how straightforward, how convenient it is? Yesterday, one of the guys was saying that it looks complicated. I hope now it's beginning to show it's really not that bad. It's really not that bad. Okay. Allocate supplier payments. So if you did not do the whole allocation in the previous when we actually did the payment, sometimes you can just make the payment and then you allocate at a later point. Okay, so here you will use this function to match your payment to the supplier invoice you have paid. To assess the allocate payment option, click suppliers, transactions, allocate payments. Okay, the allocation screen will display. Okay, so let's do that. Let's see it practically. So we go suppliers, transactions, allocate payments. Okay, can you see? This is the screen they showed us. Then obviously we have to just select our supplier that we'd like to allocate certain payments to. All invoices, nothing seems to be popping up. Let's try refresh. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there you can see we have unallocated items. Okay, we haven't paid all these invoices. Let's see here. All right, and then we can then just do our thing there. So let's click here and see what they are saying. So you selected our, you put in the relevant dates. So you drag the payment from this side to whichever invoice is supposed to be allocated to. Okay, and it will fall inside the invoice, or the invoice will open up. So yeah, 485,000. Let me, can you see that? Can you see? Can you see now this has opened up and the payment has slotted in there? Okay, still have more money. Okay, I'm just removing that. I just wanted to show you that so you guys can see what it should look like. I don't know why these guys are not using amounts that match. Okay, so we're clearly paying this guy bit by bit. Okay, so that's how you allocate payments. Right, then sixth one, sorry. Supplier adjustments. Okay. Supplier adjustments are used to increase or decrease a supplier's balance by affecting another account. For example, if a supplier charged you interest, you could process a supplier adjustment to increase the supplier's balance and affect an interest paid account. Okay, so when we did unit 7, right, and we were talking about our creditors charging us interest. Remember the two accounts that were affected? It's interest expense, and it's then also your creditor, who is also who we can look at as a supplier. Okay, does that make sense? So we would use supplier adjustments in order to actually make that entry. Okay, let's click here and see what's happening. Okay, so then you select the supplier that you want to adjust. Okay, you select whether you're decreasing or increasing that account. Maybe they gave us a settlement discount. In that case, we'd be decreasing. But if they're charging us interest, then we're increasing. Okay, then you would enter in the amounts and stuff like that, and then you would process it. Okay. Okay. By affecting, this is the account. Okay, so if we're decreasing, maybe we got a settlement discount, we'd then put in the account. All right, and if we were increasing, if it was interest expense, we'd then put in that account, and here if the effect was an increase. So let's quickly have a look at that. So supplier transactions, supplier adjustments. Okay. Okay, so it seems we don't have one, so we're gonna need to add. Supplier Adjustment. Okay, so we want to increase. Can you see we've already increased, so it's fine. We can just leave it like that. Can you see now we have all the various accounts. So if we're going to increase, what are we going to say? We're going to say interest, not interest received, it's interest expense. So let's look for that. Do they have interest expense? They don't have interest expense here. That's weird. Okay, so maybe let's just say, do they have equipment, telephone, electricity? Let's just do equipment. Okay. So in essence, what are we saying? We're saying, no. Yeah, so let's just click loans. Okay, but typically I would want us to do interest expense. Okay, and then we obviously just put in the amount. We can put in the total, one that's inclusive of VAT. Okay, and then it will adjust accordingly. But I think this guy, I don't know if this supplier is actually registered for. Let's just put 10,000 NBC. Okay, so they're not registered for VAT because it would have automatically calculated the VAT. Okay, all right. Let's see, decrease. Okay, so we have quite a few things here. So we click on the invoice that needs to be updated, that has been decreased. Okay, and then there we can, again, they don't have too many accounts here. I would have picked a settlement discount granted. Okay, but we can add an account if we want to, but we won't do that today. Okay, right, so that's your adjustments. Okay, those are your adjustments. Okay, so we've gone through that. Then here, this is an activity for you guys. So you guys can do that activity whenever you have a chance to go through this. Okay, so that's processing. Reports is even shorter. Okay. Okay, when you generate reports, there is certain information that needs to be specified. The information that needs to be specified is usually referred to as filters and ensures that the system produces the correct report and report content. Click on Reports, all right, Suppliers, and select a report. Click on the report names below to see a preview. Okay, all right, so here supplier outs. Wait, did I click on that? Oh, okay, I actually did. Okay, so we can start with, this is a list of your suppliers, supplier listing report. Okay, and they've given us the balances, what is owed to them. And you have purchases by supplier. Okay, so those are the purchases we've made with our respective suppliers. Okay, and you can look at any of these in your own given time. I won't go through all of them. Here you can see summaries of the different reports, what they are all about. So it helps guide you in terms of finding exactly what you're actually interested in. Let's see. Just want us to go there. So supplier, and then you've got reports. Okay. All right. So that's one way that you can get to your reports if you know exactly which report you're looking for. But they were saying go to supplier, reports, and then go to supplier. Yes, we want to leave that one. And this is where we were. Can you see that? Okay. I think I actually like this better because of the summary that it gives there. Okay. All right. And I think that's actually it. Yep. That's it for suppliers. Okay. So guys, for your homework, I just say go and read units 1 to 3. I don't think I'm seeing you again this week. I see, yes, I'm not seeing you again this week. So that's all I ask. Just go through what we've gone through thus far. Let's go through what we've gone through thus far. And then I'll see you sometime next week. I don't know if there are any questions or thoughts. Anything you'd like to discuss from your side?